This functional vet. I am using Kiko expandable braid, and if you look, this stuff opens up very, very large, sort of like a snake skin. So you can put quite a large object in there. In this case, it's swallowing up my thumb, which is about 1 inch in diameter. This is 1/2 inch tubing, braiding. So I will put links for the different size braidings inside or on the Amazon website that you can choose from, and I'll show you what I'm doing with this. Right here, up here, you can see where I started, and I'm feeding the braid onto my power line. And right up here is where it stops. Now, I have approximately 45 feet of this braid cut off, and I'm going to be running wires through it. Let me show you the rat's nest. Right here, you'll be able to see it pretty clearly. We have this power line right here, which says high-low on the water. We have this Dacron line, link in the description, which is rated at 1,000 pounds, which is tied to the pump. And then I have my red line, which is my power line. That is a number 10 AWG line, which runs down to my pump. Now, I had a 4th line previously, but as you can see, when I pull this thing out of the pump, it can tangle on all this stuff that's out here. I don't live where there's a nice clean lawn and I can just lay this out. So I'm going to slide this webbing over the thing to reduce this down to me having only one thing to pull out. And that is this black line, which is my drop tube or stem. And then of course this webbing will be wire tied to the tubing. Now this has been hanging for 2 years, so it's pretty stretched out. I don't have to worry about much stretch or anything like that. And once I get this into place, then we'll be good to go. Let me show you how I do this real quick. What I do is I push the tubing up on here. Now, let me see if I'm in frame here. Okay, I'm pushing the frame, the stuff up here on the end. This is the distal end of the wire. I push this down like so, and I get this big fat tubing on here. Once I have this on this, I slink this out and I push it forward, and the tubing works its way down towards where it will start taking in the Dacron line and the power cord. As I say, this red one right here is the actual power that powers the well. So as you can see, you just take it, you slide it on, you get yourself a big fat snake on here, and as you work it through, it works out. The more tubing that you put on here, the further you can extend it down, the tubing. And in just a moment, I'm going to be introducing the black Dacron and the power cable, and I'll show you how I get those connected so that this will work properly. That will be just a moment, and when I get to that point, I'll show you. So I got a big fat snake, and now I just start working it down. And when I get done with this, what I'll have is I'll have a line just slightly larger than this, that when I pull out with my black right here, this down to stem that the water is pumped up through, I'll have a very clean package to work with, and not this nightmare of this this down stem and all these wires and strings. Had I given this more thought, I would have gone with a larger piece and put my drop line into that, and then I would only have one thing to pull up out of the well every time I pull it up. But for right now, that's where we're at, and as soon as I get to where I'm about to introduce the cordage and power line, I'll show you how I do that. Alright, these are the pieces that I need to secure to this. So what I'm going to use electrical tape, and I will spiral the tape, pulling it firmly against this, and I will create, as it were, a cone to allow the tape to slide through with these underfittings on it. Sure hope I'm in frame. There we are. As you can see, for the record, I bought this knife. I think I paid $4 for it. I bought this knife and I carried this the entire time I was in Iraq. Opened my MREs with it, opened my mail with it, cleaned my fingernails, even remember flicking a few bugs off of me with that knife. The brand, I think, is Winchester. Yeah, it's a Winchester knife. Not bad. Still good after all these years. Now this wire will fold back in here, and what I'll do, I sure hope that's in frame. Yeah, this wire will feed back through here, but when I get to the end, I'll just pull this wire out, remove the tape, and get on with the project. So now we feed this over that. As you can see, it goes over it with no problems, and pretty soon we'll only have one line to mess with and not have this rat's nest that I've got now. I'll show you the completed project as soon as I'm done. In this view, right here, we have the end of the expandable tape. I'm going to stretch that out a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taping this up. The tape, the link for what I'm using is in the comments. I have found it to work very well in wells, better than the 3M waterproof tape. And this cordage that you see down here is going to be tied onto this right here, and that is the piece that I cut off. Now we have, this is the Dacron, this is the communications cable with the low water sensor, this is the backflow sensor, and this other cable is going to be tied on this side of the backflow condenser, backflow preventer, so that I have essentially 3 ways of raising the pump should for some reason it break free. So I'm going to make that happen, and I'll show you what it looks like as I get it done. Here we can see what we have. Right here I've wrapped the string around the black Dacron, and I've put a bowline in it, and I've wrapped back. It's securely on there. Then right up here I secured the webbing. I secured the webbing on here with a tight bind, and then I actually double wrapped this around the plastic stem that goes down that the water comes up through. And now what I'll do is I'll put some wire ties every so often along the length of this, and I'll pull all the slack out of the expandable flex and get all that secured. As you can see, this is a nice clean fitting compared to what I had before, where I had all those wires on the ground. So when I pulled stuff out, sticks, all kinds of crud would get in there, and it was a problem. Now it's all clean. With thunderstorms moving in, this is a hasty ending. I'm using this Roan tower just to keep the stem and the drop stem and the webbing out of the dirt. And as you can see, we're ready to put it down inside the well tomorrow, and all is finished. I hope this was instructional for you. With Sabakovich Makar, Sabaka Volk, Sabaka Sasha, Sabaka Savaka Nizavut, correction, Savaka Nipolarini Medved, and that's it. Everybody else is gone. Dysfunctional vet out.